If you don't make time for your health, you will be forced to make time for your illness. This sentence resonated with me the moment I listened to it, because it was only a few days after I came back home after spending 10 days in the hospital. And while the reason I ended up there was not directly related to the lack of time I dedicated to my health, it was definitely a wake-up call. 4 years ago, we moved to this land. Back then, it was empty, but full of potential. Not many people saw those potentials, but we did. And with a lot of hard work and hope, day by day we continue working towards our goal of turning what seemed to be a worthless piece of land into something bigger than our dream. But what originally moved us here was to build our forever home. And once we finished transforming this space and our little cabin that could protect us under a roof during the harsh months, it was time to move on with the bigger project, our forever home in the other part of our land. Realistically speaking, we had no skills, no experience, or even the financial means to complete this big project. But we trusted ourselves and focused on putting one step in front of the other day after day. The dream of building our lives here was closer, but in order to work towards that dream, my own health was compromised. I ate well and exercised daily, but it is only when we have a healthy body, mind and soul that we can really feel well. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the small steps that I have taken to heal myself and to improve and restore my health. My health started to deteriorate at the beginning of May this year. After 4 years working to transform this place by ourselves, I felt physically and emotionally drained and exhausted. The stress of the last 2 years building our house took a toll in my body, and I woke up every day tired, fatigued, and in pain. At times it got better, and at times it got worse. Resting and stopping work was unfortunately not an option. If we didn't work in the property, nobody was coming to do the job for us. And if we didn't work in our small businesses, no income would come the following month. And the more I came to this realization, the harder the exhaustion, because it felt like there was no solution. Looking back now, it was all in the way to perceive and face those challenges. The chronic exposure to stress increases the cortisol level in our bodies, and with it comes the inflammation of the body. I knew something had to change back in May, but then June, July and August passed by, and I didn't know what to do but keep working besides the fatigue. Finally, it was September, and funny enough, my working computer broke down. 2 days afterwards, I got hospitalized. Sometimes life has to put us in these hard situations to force us to change. And if we are lucky and become aware of those signs, we finally do what it takes to change. I realized that the way I have been approaching work, my career, and my sense of self around it brought me to this chronic stress. Becoming aware of it is the first step towards change, and luckily I did. It wasn't simply the amount of work or how hard it was. It was the emotion associated to it. We recently were able to install the windows of the house, and we finally could celebrate a win. But 2 weeks later, one of them broke down because of the heat from the sun in the south facade. Basically what happened is that the window was protected with a plastic because some work was done in the facade, and it got so hot that a thermal shock cracked the glass. As unbelievable and unlucky as it sounds, another challenge appeared along the way. But this time we chose how to perceive it and react to it. And after the shock and trying to understand what happened, we felt lucky that this time it was only a material loss that could be replaced and none of us got injured. When it comes to tending the land, the work is endless, and if you live in a climate like mine and have a garden, you can grow food every season. But what I learned this year is that something that could be a joy and a blessing to do can become a curse. And that's exactly what happened to me with my garden this year. My watering system broke down right before summer, and by the time I realized it, plants were fully grown and I couldn't easily access to change all the pipes. Not to mention all the work needed to be done in the building site and all the computer work to be done that it is what makes possible to pay the bills of the house bill each month. Back then, it was hard to make a decision of what to do and how to approach the problem. And each day passed by and I suffered and felt guilty for not doing everything I could to fix every single thing in the garden. But it wasn't until I was in the hospital that the option to work in the garden became impossible, and the only thing that I could do was to learn to let it go. When I came back from the hospital, I had to recover and couldn't do any physical job. Each day I saw the garden in detriment and continued learning the lesson of letting go, and I made my peace with it. When I started my garden 4 years ago, before I even had a YouTube channel, it was a place for me to connect with myself and enjoy. And besides of what some people think, my garden doesn't represent me. It is not another tag that says, hey, I'm my garden and my whole value as a human is interconnected to it. Just as a house, a car, a piece of jewelry or a clothes doesn't do it. My garden is just that, and for the rest of this year I have decided it is not my priority, and I have made my peace with it. As much excitement and joy that it brings to me to grow my own food, after 4 years I'm taking 1 or 2 trimesters break, so I can focus the limited time that I do have on my own health, on my physical recovery, and on helping the best I can our family to finish our house so we can hopefully move in soon. Another important pillar of that health is our mental health. And recently, while listening to the podcast of a Spanish psychiatrist that has brought the mental health awareness to many people, how to understand what happens to our brain and body to a physiological level and how to approach it, she says something that I have always believed in. When you are able to understand yourself, what happens to your body and why you feel the way you do, you can finally find relief, because now you are able to see patterns and why you feel the way you do with a wider perspective. At one level or the other, we have all been caregivers, helping someone that you love going through a difficult situation, or if you are someone empathic like me, you even suffer with the suffering of others, or when constantly listening to all the injustice that's going on around the world. That's why I believe that talking with someone that you trust and really listens, it is important in order to be able to release that emotional weight. It's been through therapy that I have found that relief, and I'm really grateful for today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online platform where you are able to connect with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful advice. Because they are on a mission to make starting therapy easier, the sign-up process is super easy. You will start by filling out a questionnaire, and in as little as in a few days you will be matched with a therapist. If for some reason that first therapist that you are matched with doesn't feel like a good fit, you can switch therapist at any point and at no extra cost, and then you can do your sessions via phone call, video chat, or even messaging. If you would like to give therapy a go and you think you will benefit from a therapy session, you can use the link in my description below or go to betterhelp.com/Eugenia Diaz and get a 10% off your first month of therapy. As always, I'm going to leave all the links in the description below. Living closer to nature is really beautiful, but it also comes with its challenges, especially when you are living in a $5,000 house that was never built as our forever home. As you can see, our windows and doors are handmade with pieces of steel and plastic, and the reason is because we had to save all we had to build our house, which makes living here at times like a camping. Sometimes we laugh at our camping situation, and sometimes it's not that easy to see it with a positive perspective, when all sorts of insects get inside and disrupt you from your peaceful activities like meditation. For some reason, this fall the population of wasps has gotten out of control, and every day we open the kitchen window and front doors, more than 30 wasps gets inside, getting stuck in your hair, hitting you in the face, sometimes stinging you, and honestly getting you in a fight or flight mode every time you open the doors. It sometimes feels like you are living in a Jumanji movie, but not today. This day, after a really stressful morning, I decided that enough was enough, and I decided to face the problem and try to solve it with what I had. And in order to make our life easier and more comfortable, we decided to put a huge mosquito net in the front door and change the one we have in the kitchen window.
Lolita, don't break it. Already, please. Ya. Maru, no abuse de Guillo que estoy grabando. Porque como no hemos puesto esto en vídeo.
No lo sé, Guillo, por estética, ¿no?
No, por estética, porque pensábamos, no damos un duro, pensábamos que no iba a funcionar.
During hot days, the cabin gets extremely hot when the air conditioner is off, and all the glue for the velcro where the mosquito net is placed starts to melt down and falls from the window frames, so preparing ourselves ahead is important. We decided to clean well with alcohol or the surfaces where we were going to glue the velcro, and also went ahead and staple every few centimeters to make sure we don't have to redo this job every few months.
Voy a poner la grapadora, tío. Porque podemos poner esto ya de por vida, tío. Al menos lo que es la gomita, ¿sabes?
Ah, bueno, pues está limpiando. Up until now, all the control of flies, mosquitoes, and other types of flying insects was managed with my electric bracket. But now, I only have to kill the wasps and flies that are left inside, because as much as I love and respect nature, there is a whole world outside for them to explore and enjoy, but in this small 80 square feet space, I appreciate to be left in peace and go back to sleep at night without any mosquito, wasps, or other type of insect bothering and stinging me. Dedicating each day time to recharge our battery is important to avoid feeling burnout or depleted, and I have learned this lesson the hard way. Being constantly producing and at our 100% is completely unnatural, and some of us feel like life won't stop for us, so we keep pushing, drinking more coffee and fighting our own fatigue. But at some point, you can't avoid the unavoidable, and the only thing that we can do is to recharge our energy by resting and taking some time off during the day. That could be knitting a project that makes you excited, painting, listening to a song, drinking a cup of tea in silence, meeting with a friend or a loved one that brings you joy, taking a quick nap, and other times those little moments are just a few minutes taking a breath. Avoiding the screen of the phone or computer and the never-ending scrolling is important to help us recharge that battery, and by taking just a couple of minutes during the day to feel the quietness and peace has been a game changer for me. In short, doing things that bring you back to life, so you can fully give from an abundant and overflowing well. I have been also dedicating some time to work in self-compassion and self-love, but for that, we need to give space for endings to happen. Make the time to do shadow work, looking inside that part of ourselves that we had neglected for so long, embracing it, and with compassion, bring it out to light, to give the love it deserves, because all of those parts are who you truly are. We all have our own flaws. We make mistakes, and none of us are superhumans or perfect machines. And accepting that is the first step towards self-love and acceptance. Practicing self-love and treating ourselves with respect in a gentle way allow us to emotionally renew. In order to lower the cortisol level of my body, I have been starting the day with gentle exercises like yoga, stretch, and walking. I then follow with some daily affirmations to help change that internal dialogue towards a more empowering and positive one. And every day, either at night or after my affirmation practice, depending on time, I take a little notebook where I write the things that I'm grateful for and the things I envision to experience in life. I have always believed in the power that these visualizations have to manifest a new reality. It's been a practice I have done many times in my life. When things go well, it is easy to have that clear vision, but it is when things get hard and challenging that the vision needs to be even clearer. So I have gotten back to my daily practice of creating new intentions to manifest new realities, and by focusing on the things that bring me joy and that I'm grateful for, rather than on the ones that bring me discomfort and that I'm not happy, I'm already creating a change. A few weeks before, with Pepe's help, we were able to aerate and decompact the soil and get part of the land ready to sow a mixture of seeds to help improve the quality and structure of our current soil. We have a seed spreader that unfortunately doesn't work that well. For some reason, the seeds get stuck, and last time I had to throw 100 pounds of seeds by hand. This time, Pepe was confident he could make the machine work, so I will have to go again with the tractor to aerate and decompact the soil before throwing the seeds, since with the rain of the last few days it got compacted all over again. This brings me to ideas and expectations. Before, it meant to expect that in 4 years our project could be completed and I could relax and sit back to enjoy the view. But besides my ideas and expectations, it didn't take 4 years to complete, and that ideal image of me sitting back and not having to do anything anymore is not real either, which in a way feels as if the curriculum that I have been working on through the years has perhaps completed and concluded. And it's been through that journey that I have learned lessons, but that work has to be completed because I have changed. And it was good to be that person many years ago, to build that curriculum and have such priorities in my life. But I have evolved, and now I see success in a very different way I saw it before, by acknowledging that ending the lessons, the learnings, and how much I have changed as a person, I can feel the freedom for new beginnings. And new experiences and lessons to be learned will await for me in this new phase of my life. Now it is my time to sit planting, setting intentions for a new cycle, connecting with that vision and the things I want to see sprouting. Because every time we are ready to close a chapter of who we were, we allow ourselves to open the doors of a new one.